Hello everyone, welcome to Simon. Today we're going to look at an interesting chess position on the rook endgame called the Lucena position. So you can see the white is clearly winning, but it's very, very hard because black has so many counterplays, so many ways to defend. So let's pause the video, give you some time to think about, and after you try, come back to the video and we will solve it together. So welcome back, guys. So the first move, if you find rook to f2, congratulations, you're right. Why? Because we are trying to check the king so that the king can move away from our king, so that our king can step aside and try to promote the pawn. But there are 4 different replies. The black can go here, 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 or here. So the first move we explore is king to e6. After king to e6, we can go king to e8, which will running to the promotion, and there's nothing black can do to stop it. If we go rook to e1, we can promote. If we go rook to c7, we can promote. If we go king rook to c8, we can just capture, which is even worse, right? So what should we do? So king to e6 is definitely not a good move. What about king to g8? After king to g8, we have a very interesting idea. So the rook to f6. The idea is that after king to g7, try to attack our rook, we go king to e7, protecting our rook at the same time, try to promote the pawn. After the check, rook to e1, we can block the check with rook to e6, which after takes, our pawn is unstoppable. But what if he doesn't try king to g7, but he tried to cut off the king from protecting a rook and then go king to g7 later? Well, white has an interesting reply. King to c7. If you're going to allow me to turn on the king side, we're going to go for the queen side, right? The idea is after rook to c1 check, we can block the check with a rook. Same idea about the queen side. After takes, there's nothing stopping our pawn from moving. So king to g8, definitely not a good reply. What about the move king to g6? After king to g6, we don't have this rook to f6 idea anymore because king has taken. But we do have king to e8 idea. Because after king to e8, after rook check, instead of going back and then do all the things that you might see, because in Lucena position, the rook can just check the king endlessly wherever it goes. And there's no way the king can escape all the checks before he come back to the original position, which is terrible, right? And give black a lot of chances. So instead of doing king back to e8 after the check, we go king to f8. The idea is there's no check anymore because the rook is protecting the f1 square. And we are certainly promoting our pawn. So the black has to go rook to d1, protecting the pawn for promotion. And now instead of going king to e8, we are going to protect our pawn with a rook to f7 move. Protecting the pawn at the same time preventing the king from entering the game. And now black is just losing. Because no matter what the black do, we are going to move our king to the e8 square and promote the pawn. If we go something like rook to d6, for example, we're going to go king to e8. And after rook to e6 check, we're going to block the check with a rook and then safely promote. Right? There's no other move that he can make. He can move his king, but it's useless. He can move his rook up and down, but he never move left or right. No matter where he moves, we are going to always block the check with a rook, which is winning. Right? So instead of king to g7, g6, there's only one move left for black. We rule out this one, this one, this one. The only move that black will do is king to g7. Well, king to g7 not only stopped the rook to f6 idea, but also the king to e8 idea, because after the rook check, there's no way to go to f8 anymore. So instead of fighting on the king side, which is hopeless for now, we're going to fight on the queen side. Because the king is so slow, it can never, it protects the king from coming up on the king side, but never on the queen side. The rook is so fast, like the queen, right? The king's like the human, so slow. After rook to a2, black. The idea is after rook to a2, we can go rook to a7, and then rook to c7, and king can go to c8 and promote. Black can try king to f7, then we go for our original plan. Now black have a very tricky move, rook to b1. The idea is to go for rook to b8 check, and then promote, stopping the pawn for promoting. Very interesting mistake that a lot of players move is go for the original idea, rook to c7. Try to block the check, like king can move to c8 and then promote. Run into the move rook to b8. Because of the black king, king can never step outside of the check or blocking with the rook. And you can go rook to b7, and then there will be an endless cycle, which is terrible. We don't want to run into it. So instead, after rook to b1, we should go king to c8. Idea is stopping the rook at the same time. After the rook goes c1 check, we can go rook to c7, blocking the check and safely promote. Brilliant, brilliant idea. So many tricks here, okay? If he goes, only black doesn't go king to f7 at the first move, or rook to b7 at first, we can still go for the same idea. Rook to a7. After rook to b8 check, we can slide our king to the e7 square because the king is no longer on f7. We can move our king to the e7 square and safely promote the pawn next move. Black has no check. So that's how we solve the Lucena position. Now we have covered all the possible moves after king to f7. There are 4 different possibilities and each of them fails. So thank you for watching. Hope you enjoy chess and see you in the next video.